Small talk is fake. You know it is fake. The other person knows it is fake. Both of you still do it anyway. And somehow your body treats "how's it going" like a minor security breach. That is what fascinates me. The human brain can land probes on Mars, compose symphonies, and process absurd amounts of information every second. But let you make accidental eye contact with Gary from high school near the frozen foods section, and the whole machine immediately reroutes power to panic. Your heart rate jumps, your face starts manually performing politeness, and suddenly you are preparing to discuss the weather like this is a dignified use of consciousness. So here is the real question. Why does your nervous system collapse over a conversation that neither person even wants? Because small talk is not actually conversation. It is a social diagnostic ritual. It is a biological ping test. Two humans exchange tiny, meaningless packets of information just to confirm that this interaction will remain harmless, shallow, and brief. Nice weather. Yeah. Traffic's brutal. Absolutely. End transmission. No one cares about the weather. We talk about the weather because it is neutral, safe, and almost impossible to mess up. It requires no vulnerability, no real opinion, and no follow-up that might accidentally reveal a personality. It is the conversational equivalent of a loading screen. You are not connecting yet. You are waiting for the system to decide whether connecting is safe. And the worst part is not the greeting. The worst part is the approach. Specifically, the moment you spot an acquaintance walking toward you from just far enough away that escape would now be obvious. This is the dead zone. You have already made eye contact. You are too far away to speak. You are too close to pretend you did not see them. So now you have several full seconds to manage your face like a malfunctioning customer service robot. You cannot stare because that is threatening. You cannot look away too fast because that is rude. So you deploy the emergency expression. The tight-lipped polite smile. Not a real smile. A smile generated entirely by social fear. You hold it while the two of you close the distance like diplomats approaching a summit neither side wanted. Then one of you finally says, "Hey, man," and the protocol begins. At that point, ignoring them is no longer neutral. It is an attack. Once eye contact and greeting have happened, both of you are legally trapped inside the ritual. And the ritual runs on a script, so rigid it might as well come pre-installed. Person A says, "How are you?" Person B says, "Good, how are you?" Person A says, "Good." That is not an exchange of information. That is a checksum. The system is verifying that both participants are emotionally stable enough to continue existing in public. This is also why script deviation feels catastrophic. If someone asks, "How are you?" and you answer honestly, the interaction enters crisis mode. If you say, "Not amazing, actually. I am in a weird existential spiral, and my car is making a noise that sounds expensive," you have not contributed to the conversation. You have detonated it. The other person did not ask for truth. They asked for proof of operational normalcy. You were supposed to say, "Good," keep the machinery moving, and spare both parties from raw human reality in the produce aisle. That is why small talk survives. It prevents oversharing, reduces ambiguity, and lowers the chance of accidental intimacy between people who were never trying to have any. Humans do not love shallow conversation. Humans are terrified of unstructured social exposure. Without a script, every public interaction becomes dangerous. Not physically dangerous. Status dangerous, embarrassment dangerous, rejection dangerous. The approved amount of nothing is what society currently recognizes as maturity. And once the opening checksum succeeds, the ritual usually tries to extend itself. Now we reach the 3 tiers of small talk. Tier 1 is environmental data. Weather, traffic, temperature, whether the coffee line is ridiculous today. This is safe and almost completely worthless. Tier 1 does not solve the problem. It only delays silence. Tier 2 is the weekend inquiry, where the real damage starts. Any big plans this weekend? This question pretends to ask for personality while still punishing honesty. If you tell the truth and say, "I am going to lie on my couch, eat crackers out of the sleeve, and stare at the ceiling until my soul reboots," you sound unwell. If you invent an active lifestyle involving brunch, hiking, and a farmer's market, congratulations. You have created lore. So you give the only acceptable answer. Not much, just relaxing. That sentence has saved more people from social consequences than any self-help book ever written. Tier 3 is the occupational check-in. Keeping busy. No one wants to summarize 40 hours of emails, meetings, fake urgency, and spreadsheet damage while standing next to the avocados. But the question survives because it sounds engaged while demanding almost nothing real. So the approved response is a sigh disguised as a sentence. Yeah, you know how it is. And somehow they do, because they are trapped in the same system. The office break room is worse. A hallway gives you motion. A grocery store gives you fake tasks. A sidewalk gives you direction. The break room gives you none of that. It is pure forced co-presence. You walk in to microwave your lunch. Someone else is already there waiting for their food. Now both of you are standing in front of a rotating plate and a digital countdown clock like hostages monitoring a device. 2 minutes and 30 seconds is not long in normal life. In breakroom small talk time, it is an era. You cannot leave because your food is in the machine. You cannot commit to a real conversation because neither of you came there for that. So you stand there performing verbal CPR on the silence. Smells good. Thanks. Leftovers. Yeah. Nice. Then nothing. Just the hum of the microwave and the sound of two adults pretending this is fine. That is the trap at the center of all this. The protocol is bad, but the absence of the protocol feels worse. And once the safe topics run out, you enter the danger zone. This is the moment where the pleasantries are exhausted. Neither person has enough material to justify continuing, and both of you are waiting for someone to execute the exit correctly. Because ending a small talk interaction also has a script. You need an extraction maneuver. The classic one is false urgency. You glance at your phone or some meaningless point in space and say, "Well, I should probably let you get back to it." It sounds considerate. It sounds generous. It is neither. It is a controlled evacuation. If you are married or in a long-term relationship, you may already have a more advanced system. That is why public code phrases exist. One partner says something innocent like, "Did we leave the back porch light on?" That sentence has nothing to do with a porch light. It means, extract me from this conversation immediately without making me look rude. This is not romance. It is battlefield signaling. And even then you are not safe, because there is one final failure state. The false goodbye. You say goodbye. They say goodbye. You turn, then both of you start walking in the exact same direction anyway. Now the system has entered an error condition it was never designed to process. You already ended the conversation, but you are still physically together. Do you restart the interaction? Do you walk faster? Do you suddenly become deeply interested in a nearby potted plant? That is why people inspect shelves, receipt printers, and decorative objects with the intensity of a forensic analyst. They are not curious. They are manufacturing distance. And that is the darkest joke here. We all claim to hate small talk, but the moment it disappears, we panic harder. It was never really about the weather. It is about safety, politeness, and preventing two humans from accidentally creating a weird memory the other person will replay at 2 in the morning. So I want the data. If you have ever faked a phone call, pretended to inspect products you were never going to buy, taken the long way around a building, or become fascinated by a potted plant just to avoid a small talk encounter you saw coming, put it in the comments. Not your opinion, your field report. Because everyone watching this has done something ridiculous to avoid saying, "Hey, how's it going?" The only real difference is who is willing to admit it in writing.